that sort of understanding is our capital. We shall consider that we are always living under the sky. Tad Visnu-padam padam sada pashyanti suraya divi chakshura tatang. The divine feet of our Holy Master is just like the sun, and eye, a big eye like the sun, which is above our head. A vigilant eye of a guardian, grand guardian. It is on our hanging on our head, and we are living under that vigilant eye of the guardian. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari Gaur, Gaur Hari Gaur. Not that the objective reference, but the subjective reference. We shall try to live always in subjective relativity, not objective. Not under the feet that I have got a hard ground to stand, so I am big. Because under my foot there is a hard land I can stand erected there. Not that. But over my consciousness, the super consciousness, the vigilant guardian's eye, I am living under the shade of that eye. Not below, but upside, above our ashraya. We are hanging on the with our support in the substantial and the upper world. Always be conscious. Consideration with the guardian. And only on their direction we shall come to connect with servants. That is, which is considered to be of lower realization. But main support we shall think about to have from the upper world. Tad Vishnu. So this ring mantra, this is a principal mantra in Rig Veda. Whenever anyone will approach to any new duty, he will think himself just before that, what is he? Who is going to approach a particular duty? What is his position? His position has been given to think out in such a way that you are under a vigilant eye of your guardian. And it is as living as the sun, a great eye, just like the sun, spread over your head. The light itself, it can pierce through to see anything within you. And with this identification of you, you approach anything whatsoever as your duty. But not encourage that you are on a solid earth, you are standing and you are going to do this thing and that thing, never. So subjective relationship, we are just as the sun's ray. Where does it stand? The sun's ray, it stands on the sun. The ray stands on the sun. That is its source. So also, we have to think that our stand is on the, we are so many particles of consciousness, and our stand, our motherland is that conscious area. God consciousness, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness That is our relationship. We shall always be conscious of the fact. We are connected with Krishna consciousness. We are member of the Krishna consciousness world. And we have come to wander in the foreign land of material consciousness, this Maya, misconception that we are one unit of this material world. It is not so. We are unit of the conscious world, Krishna conscious world. And anyhow we have come in this material conception of things. And the matter is which you can exploit, our objective side. And the subjective side, that is, which we should revere, and our relationship with that of reverence, devotion with the higher entity, and not of exploitation or enjoyment. And real enjoyment divine, that comes from service, not from exploitation. All these basic things we have to understand. Hari Krishna, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Swami Maharaj told in New York, the engineers, they have built so many houses that will stand for ages. But they did not mind that their body may stay how long. The engineer's body, how long the houses will stand for long period. But those that will live in the houses, their body, how long it will stand and how the vitality can be improved, longevity can be improved. They are not care for that at all. The objective side, very busy with the objective side, neglecting the subjective value. We use them. No cultivation is necessary for the user of the objective one. There is all importance to the objective side, not neglecting totally the subjective side. Who will utilize the object, they are neglected. Hari Krishna. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. The sun ray touching the earth, then where is its home? The sun ray, pencil of ray, is touching the sun, is touching the hill, touching the water. What should be the considered of his home?
The sun.
Necessarily the sun, and not the earth where it is. That is our position. We are part into conscious world, not the material. Home connection there, the sun, the spiritual sun. We are being advised to consider that though you are in a hole of this earth, but still your soil is in the sun proper. You emanate from there. You are sustained from there. And your prospect is there. Though you are in a hole of this earth or water. We have to conceive like that. Because we are consciousness. So our home is the source of consciousness. Wherever we are, bird, beast, the mountain, whatever position, the consciousness, this conscious existence, your source is there, just like sun. You are not a child of this soil. You may be captive here, but you are not home, a foreign land. All your prospect and aspiration can be supplied from that soil because your nature is of that order. That your food, your everything will be of that stuff. And this will be all poison to you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Pertaining to consciousness, that is our immediate, our nearest nature or acquaintance. But if we were to go deeper, then we shall find something else crossing the vision of light or consciousness, the necessity of the existence, that is happiness or ecstasy, prema, on the other side. Following Chit, we have to go and establish ourselves in the Anandam, beauty, Sundaram, and never on this side. Ananda is above light, Rasa is above consciousness. Beauty, charm, that is above mere consciousness, mere understanding. Feeling is not completing itself. Feeling for something. Feeling. So perfect thing, the fullest complexion of thing is in beauty or ecstasy. Consciousness cannot be the perfect thing, just as not mere existence. But Anandam, ecstasy is perfect, prema, love, beauty. That presupposes consciousness as well as existence, Sat-Chit Ananda. Ananda is the final conception of substance. It can stay by itself, it can exist by itself. Or he or she can exist by himself or herself, Anandam. But feeling, consciousness, hankering for ecstasy. And the existence without consciousness and Anandam, that is useless. Mere existence is useless. it to no purpose. But endowed with consciousness somewhat can search for his own good, and the goodness itself is Anandamaya expression. And that is independent and complete thing, because the feeling as well as the existence, both subservient to its existence. Anandam. Anandam brahmano vidyam no viviti kujaschana. When you are to realize that, Rasu Visha, you need not be afraid of anything, from any apprehension that can arise here. Anandam brahmano vidyam no viviti kujaschana. The apprehension, the fear, fear of death, fear of the threatening of non-existence. Not only I shall have any fulfillment, but my existence is also at stake. I may be devoured by non-existence. So this apprehension will vanish. Anandam brahmano vidyam. While I am trying to find it, it is not located here. Apparently, it seems that his aim is fixed in the what we look at the Vigraha. To our vision, only a doll of wood, and the Mahaprabhu is fixing his eye there, but he is shedding tears, and tears flowing in a current, no end, incessant current. But where is he is connected? What we say as the wooden doll, and he is looking at that. And the incessant current of tears coming down. His connection where located? It is on the opposite side, the subjective. Subjective, so when we shall approach to have a darshan of the Srimurti, what attitude should I approach to have a look of the Srimurti? So we should learn to have darshan of Srimurti. It is meant. That is not a mundane thing. Try to see with the opposite connection. It has come down to help you, you fallen soul in the material world, and he has come down as if in such a plane to take you up to his domain. He has come down. Parabhuha Vaibhav Antarjami Archa. Ramani has classified the expression of the Supreme Entity in these 5 forms. Paro, the central conception of the highest entity. Bhuho, then he extends himself, his extended self, extends himself in different functions, in different figure, if you may call it. Vaibhav, by further attempt, he comes down here in this mundane plane as Avatar Mutsya Kudma Varao, Antarjami. By another function, he is present at every heart of every soul. Every conscious unit holds within his presence. That is the fourth function of him. And the fifth is Archa. He comes down in the brain, what in the plane of our physical perception. Not, eyes are not fixed on the wood, but with the touch of that superficial wood characteristic, it is connected high to Krishna consciousness, deep is Krishna consciousness, that he has come here and making arrangement for the deliverance of the crores of fallen souls, especially by extending his own prasadam to one and all in a great magnitude. His magnanimous presence here for the relief work, of this world. Hari Krishna. Durvikha, that is famine. Our Guru Maharaj used mostly this word, the famine, durvikha. What sort of durvikha? Famine, food want of food, Krishna-katha durvikha. The world is suffering from the famine of Krishna consciousness, Krishna talk, Krishna kirtan. So, we have tried to open so many food distributing offices, stock, distribute the food of all the souls. Talk about Krishna. Jari dekho tari kaho. Mahaprabhu also told. Whoever you will come across, talk of Krishna. Give him food. And the food is Krishna consciousness, Krishna-katha. Go around. The famine period, everyone is stricken or famine-stricken, famine-stricken. The word, we find all famine-stricken people. Famine-stricken. And they distribute food, right and left. Whomever you come across, hear about Krishna. That was the feeling of our Guru Maharaj. And Swami Maharaj did that in the West. Distribution of food to the soul. They are famine-stricken all, everywhere. Krishna-katha durvikha. Our Guru Maharaj told, I do not admit of any other conception of famine, but only famine is here, and that is of Krishna-katha, Krishna-smriti, Krishna consciousness. Only that famine is here, and I don't admit of any other conception of famine or want in this world. Oh. With so seriousness, he would conceive the necessity of Krishna consciousness in connection with us. We are suffering from famine, food. we are in want of food. That is only our food. We can thrive there. Krishna-katha. Krishna-katha. So Krishna is such to us, of such importance to our existence. To live, to move, vitality. Krishna can supply vitality to us, Krishna consciousness. So Vasudev Datta says, see, Gauranga is my vitality. How could I live if Gauranga did not appear? I could not live. যদি গৌর না হইতো কেমন হইতো কেমনে ধরিতাম দেহে. If Gauranga did not appear, then how could I live? I have come in connection with such a valuable thing, valuable food. Now I think that without this my life is sheer impossible. So vitality of the vitality. Krishna-katha, Krishna-katha. And the Swami Maharaj went to distribute that vitality of the soul, so many souls in the Western world. And Prabhupada did his best here, and so we have come. And it is also told by Haridas Thakur to Mahaprabhu that you have chanted Krishna name, cultivated Krishna consciousness here, sthavar, jangam, animate, inanimate, the whole world is supplied with food of Krishna consciousness, and their life is fulfilled in whatever position they may be here. Oh, I heard of your Jharkhand campaign. The elephants, the tigers sort of danced and chanted Krishna Nam. So what wonder there will be if I say that the stones, the trees, they are also have attained their high stand of Krishna consciousness. When you chant, you yourself chanting, what degree of intensity Krishna consciousness has been produced here by your own chanting. Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Nidai Gaur Hari, Nidai Gaur Hari, Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari, Gaur, Nidai Gaur Hari. Primary education is also education, but that should not come in hitch with higher education. No. Should not enter into competition with higher education, primary education. We must be careful about that. At the same time, higher education and lower education the differentiation between the 10, that must be genuine also. Primary education may not be thought that this is the highest education. Then that is also a danger thing. Salpa vidya bhayankari. In Sanskrit there is a saying. What is the English idiom? Salpa vidya bhayankari.
A little knowledge is a dangerous thing.
Yes. Dangerous thing. We must be careful about that. Otherwise it will be suicidal. The question of offense comes there. When primary stands against higher education, asserts, that sort of assertion is committing offense. Commitment of offense means that the lower stands against higher. Offense. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Aman Aman. Sunichena Sada Hari. We should take resort to Kirtan always, but our attitude should be such. Mahaprabhu recommends. Trnad Suni, Tarurupi Vaisnu Amani Manad. But generally, upwards. Trnad Suni, Tarurupi Vaisnu Amani Manad. Our attitude will be humble, all towards high. And if we think that we are being done wrong, still also we shall take to patience. So Amani, and that no circumstances we shall work for our own position and the prestige. That should not be of our aim. From above. Amanina, manadena, and we shall try to respect everybody. It is all mostly connected towards upper world. Trnad Suni, Tarurupi Vaisnu, towards Vaishnava world. Our conduct will be always like that. then only we can thrive well in our campaign. There's a slow and a steady wins the race. It's a long journey, not a journey to finish within a few hours or few days or few years. A continued appointment. It is to go on a long way. So we have to adjust accordingly. That we shall run quickly and then we shall stop and sleep. It's not a matter of that type. But it's a long way. We will have to walk on. And so our attitude will be such, then we will be successful. Trnad sunichena. No cause. We should not extend any cause for resistance, which will create resistance. Want to create such circumstance that invites resistance, Trnad sunichena. Still, if any resistance unexpectedly approach me, I shall try my best to forbear. Being conscious that my guardian's eye over me, he is also eager to help me in my campaign. I am not alone. So, I may go on confidently. That there is person above to redress the wrong that can be shown to me. So I may not take initiative in the beginning. So Visnu, Amamina, and no other object will come and pollute my aim, the pure purpose of my life. I won't allow any pollution from outside to contaminate my purity of purpose, Amamina. That pratishtha will come or any other temptation will come and will induce me to go ahead. I should never allow any other but the satisfaction of Guru, Gauranga, Krishna, etc., Vaishnava. No other element cannot enter there in my purpose. The purity of purpose should always be maintained very scrupulously. Amanina, Armanadena. And I won't shrink to give proper conduct, to show proper conduct to my environment. That is, won't expect that they will come and help me. I must not very eagerly. Amanina manudena. Why they are not coming to help me? No such mentality. They are engaged in their own business. It is my own. I shall go on with my duty. I want to be always searching that someone must come and help me. Manodena. They are doing, let them do their own duty. It is mine. I shall go along with this. Amamina manodena. Kirtaniya sadahari. With this attitude we shall go on. Krishna-katha. My concentration only with this sort of adjustment may be more and more intense. My confidence in Krishna will be more and more increased, and my will be purer. If I couch myself in such a way, Kirtaniya Sada Hari, Hari Kirtan, Hari Kirtan. Also, it will make us to be conscious that such sorts of hindrances, obstacles, is almost sure to come to attack you. So you are already, you are given this instruction. Whenever you begin your work, all these things will come to attack you. But you are already being given this instruction. If they come on your way, and almost sure they will come, and you have to deal with them in such a way. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Kirtan. The life is not very comfortable, only comfortable. The life of comfort. My Guru Maharaj told me, comfort seeker, accused me of comfort-seeking nature. You don't want to risk you. You are comfort seeker. You don't want to take the risk of Krishna Kirtan. You are his lover. His lover. You don't like to take the risk of Krishna Kirtan. So many, in the famine, so many souls, they are dying, and you keep yourself on the closed door in the room. Is lava. I can't sit idle. You may sit idle, but I can't. So many crying in need of food. I can't. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari Gaur. His grace. Oh. You need not go out to distribute food in the famine area. You just look after the store. You stand and keep the store, and I shall engage another person. You become storekeeper at least. You have told me. If you don't like to take risk for the distribution for outdoor works, then a storekeeper, at least you do the duty. So much graceful to me.
You have such valuables in your store that people from all over the world are coming to purchase them.
Almost my time is finished. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari. Storekeeper's post. Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Hridaya Gaur Hariyol, Hridaya Gaur Hariyol. I am saying so many things about myself, but also it is still in the Shastra. The Vedavyas has written Bhagavatam, but there also his name is mentioned with due honor. The writing came from him after all. The Bhagavan Vyasa. When someone is addressing Vyasa, he is in Bhagavan Vyasa. But it is ultimately passing through him. That is nirapekha, impartial representation of his own self also. When he is saying something in his writing, in his own writing, still he is doing justice to him also, the writer himself, and impartial judgment. Bhagavan Vyasa. The Vyasa himself is writing that as it is, impartial description. Gaur Hari Bol, 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 Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai.
But Maharaj, Vyasadeva, he's saying Bhagavan Vyasa.
Yeah.
But you're not speaking like that.
I told just now, the storekeeper. Storekeeper. In a general way.
Yes.
In a general way, as I am taught by others, I simply represented that feeling. But am I to think that I am really a storekeeper? I am giving vent to the general opinion only. But according to the advice of Mahaprabhu, na prema gandhosti darapi me haro. No store. I have not come across any store as yet. If we could find such store, then what will be my condition? From the absolute standpoint, and the standpoint of Mahaprabhu, I do not know what is the real scent of Krishna Prem divine, the love divine, the Krishna, divine love of Krishna. I have no scent even of that high thing. Mahaprabhu saying like that. So he has got some conception of what Krishna Prem should be, what higher standard that has got. But not yet I have achieved this sense. What to speak of getting anything in possession. So how high the position of the purity of Krishna Prem. This is all fighting with shadow. Still, because we are wanted in our condition to do so, we do. Dure Shuddha Krishna Prem. Shuddha Prema Bandha. Kapat Preveda Bandha. Yamar Krishna Nahi Pa. Dure Shuddha Prema Bandha. Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, Om Hari, Om Hari, Om Hari. The sun is the source of the infinite intensity of heat, but that is not necessary for us. A particular stage of heat is sufficient for us. More than that, not useful for our purpose. So we have to take position in a particular place where we can thrive from the heat of the sun and may not be burned into ashes. Our thriving point in a particular space. You see, iron is being melted by a particular heat, but there is metal which holds that liquid iron that is of harder stuff. I can tolerate that intense heat. That is not melted. The pot is not melted, but iron in the pot is being melted by the heat. So different stuff. So we are told that proper location, liberation is proper location. And the highest heat we cannot tolerate, we cannot endure. So the first group, Nanda Yashoda, Sridham Sudham, Radharani, Lalita, they can tolerate, they can adjust. And our capacity requires adjustment in a proper position of Anandam. The wheel should be utilized. Mahabhav. Rasaraj Mahabhav duye koru. The Rasaraj Mahabhav. Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari. Jai Gaur Hari.
So the Jiva Shakti, what you mentioned, Sridham, Sudham, they're Chit Shakti. They can tolerate that heat. Can Jiva Shakti ever tolerate such
contain,
heat?
No. So, just behind them, they should take their stand, position. They will be, as Swami Maharaj told to Achyutananda, he will faint. Do you remember?
Yes.
You will faint there. Cannot keep your consciousness to that standard. As yet, you have not acquired that position. So, something like that. We will faint there.
So Jiva Shakti always remains Jiva Shakti.
Jiva Shakti always subservient position. secondary.
Yes.
That will be his highest attainment, position.
Nitya Krishna Das.
Oh. But the Dasattva is of such degree. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Raining.
Rain coming.
No, no.
Not coming.
No, it's not coming.
Outside it's coming.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gaud Hari. Should we go in?
Yes, if you
Should we
wish.
go in,
We can't
inside?
light here.
No.
Let's try.
That's how he's going to try and shoot it.
Your room is completely full. House full. Packed.
Spectacle on the forehead. Gaud Hari Bol, Gaud Hari Bol. Manushamhita begins creation from this point. Ashididam tamo bhutam apragyatam alokhanam apratarkam abhikheyam pasuptamigo sarvata. Just before creation, the creative movement began. Just before that, the position is that of equilibrium. Tatastha means equilibrium. Asididam tamo bhutam. In the stage of darkness, ignorance, enveloped fully with ignorance. Apragyatam, no possibility of any estimation. Alokkhana, apragyat alokkhana, no symptom would exist that any conjecture or inference will be possible. Abhigyatam, science had no position there for investigation. Abhigyan, Prasuptamiva Sarvasam, only we can say from here as complete in deep sleep. Deep sleep may be bear some conception of the period. Prasuptamiva Sarvata, sound sleep. Tatasvayambhut Bhagavan Uttamoya. Then a movement began. A movement began from within. And some light came. Light was seen by the seers, but the light that was pre-existent. But the seers got the eye to see the light. they began to see Apaiva sasajjadu. In the first conception, there was water. The light first showed something like water. Apaiva sasajjadu. The light that came, that is compared with personality. Light means consciousness. Consciousness means person. The personality gave birth to the onlooker, to the feeler, a substance, objective substance, just like water. That is Viroja, Brahmalok and Viroja. What is told by the Vaishnava vocabulary. The light means Brahmalok, and the first objective side represented as water, Viroja Jal. Apaiva sasajjadu. Then tasu bijam apasijat. Then the seeds were sown in the water. The shade of light, the first conception like water, accommodating, moving solution. Tasu bijam apasijat. And some seed was sown, thrown into that water. Apasijat. Apa means of lower conception. So the lower creation began. The water is also the water proper that was created long afterward. But the first creative energy is compared with water. That is Prakriti. The highest conception of Prakriti is considered to be like water. And the lowest conception of Godhead is considered like light. Ray. Ray and water. The nearest approach of the conception of the Chetan as well as Jod, matter and consciousness. Consciousness compared with light and matter compared with water in their primitive differentiated position. Prakriti is Mahan. Then in connection with the bija and the water, the next production was known as Mahat-tattva. Some light mixed with some matter as a mass. The mass of matter infused with some light. That is known as Mahat-tattva. And that was divided into many units. Ahankar, Mahatu Ahankar. Ahankar as a whole, the element of all the Ahankar, the mother Ahankar is Mahat-tattva. Prakriti is Mahan. Mahatu Ahankar. Ahankarat Panchatan Matrani. Then each expressed himself, developed itself into 5 main ingredients. Panchatanmatra. That is, what can be seen, what can be scented, what can be heard, what can be tasted, what can be touched. The primitive principle of such expression. Panchatan matram. Madhu ahankarat panchatan matrani. Then again that five principle developed itself in three phases, sattva, raja, tama. That's the roop, the vision, and the darshak, the sun, the light, the vision, the color, and the eye. So, the ether, the ear, and sound. So everything in this way, that's five again converted himself into three respectively. So 5 into 3, 20 came to existence. And those Prakriti, Mahatattva, Ahankara. Twenty Prakriti, Mahan, Ahankara, Panchatanmatra, and these. So, Chaturvinshati Tattani, the development of the material world has been described to come down in such a process. Again, when withdrawn, the most gross enters, dissolves into the subtle. And then into the more subtle in this way, it enters into that Prakriti, that watery substance. And the Atma to that Brahma, that mere consciousness, non-differentiated mass of consciousness, Brahma, Okkhara, Kharassadvani bhutani kutasthu khara uchyate. That Brahma has been defined as Okkhara. Kharadotitha oham okkharadopi chottama. I exist transcending both the two aspects of the substance, Khara and Okkhara. So I am Purushottama Vasudeva, Parabrahma. Within me, the whole of my jurisdiction also considered, that Vaikuntha, Goloka, the whole thing, represented by only the name of Purushottama Vasudeva. Then when we enter into that domain of Vasudeva, we can see so many demarcations, and so many stages, so many pastimes, so many dealings there. They are busy in their dedicated life there, eternal world. The general conception like that. Calculative dedication and then spontaneous dedication, that is called Goloka. And there are so many different kinds of pastimes. Santa, Dasya, Sakha, Vatsalya, Madhura, Sakya, Parakiya. That is very, very high. Still we have to somewhat view that our fate is finally connected with that high thing what is given to us by Bhagavatam, Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamritam, etc., Bhaktivedanta Thakur, etc., in the scriptures. That is our future, our future prospect. This prospectus is such. Sambandha Gyan needs it. According to our taste, taste also can also be improved by hearing from higher source. Seduction may the spirit of seduction may be improved when we are shown different ideas, models, what may attract us most according to our choice. In our choice we have to move on to get that, to acquire that. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai Gaur Hari Bol, Nidai Gaur Hari Bol. Nidai? Nahi. Is that regular rainfall?
Yes. In which place the consciousness is being differentiated as a unity? How does that take place? In the evolution of the Sankhya universe, the creation process that you explained, this is the Saraswati. You're only a servant of all Vaishnavas. In which time the consciousness, the individual consciousness, take place as individual entity in the process of Sankhya universe?
In the process of Sankhya universe, creation of the universe. According to the Sankhya philosophy, at which stage does individual consciousness occur during the process of creation?
Just now I described that the general ahankar is created first. Prakriti, Thakur Bhagavata, from Linga Bhagavan Shambhu, in Visnu-pada. The way of consciousness comes to mingle with Prakriti. Prakriti means energy. Consciousness and the energy, the most primitive conception of energy, that is Prakriti, and the consciousness. Take it on. There are two categorical difference, energy and the consciousness. Mass consciousness comes in contact with mass energy, and they mingle together. And then a general ego is comes to be seen. Then that is dissolved. But general ego is dissolved into innumerable parts, innumerable ego. And that consciousness within, that also distributes itself within each unit. And this way gradually the individual soul is coming down, individual ahankar. When they are one as a common whole, all ahankar, in that primitive state it is known as Mahat Tattva. Then after, when it grows, we send into so many different individual units. When a particular thing is broken to pieces, an atom also broken, then electrons in this way, gradually in their development, they came as individual ahankara, jiva soul. Tatastha, okkhara. Okkhara. Undetectable. Okkhara means undetectable. From that plane it comes to detectable plane as a whole. And then again the next process of development in the negative side, it is seen innumerable units from that mass lump as Mahatattva. Then gradually other things develops in this negative side of exploitation.
The creation of Brahmanda is posterior to this process.
Oh. Ekaya jattana vesti nandaya vartati punam. Host sometimes thrashing, pushing forth and sometimes withdrawing in this way. Heart contracts and expands, contracts and expands. The whole Brahmanda is expands and contracts, collecting within the one and the many, one and the many in this way. The creation and dissolution, evolution, dissolution in this way. The heart moving contracts and expands. The whole Brahmanda in such a process. What we find in the smallest unit, the same character is to be traced in the bigger units. And this is the suggestion to know the whole, more or less. And there are some categorical new elements to be added to our knowledge also. And those that are within, they can have some partial knowledge, and those are independent, outside this, the contracted and expanded world, onlookers from outside, they are giving the real history of the whole thing, and that is revealed truth. And that also accordingly is distributed according to the capacity of the people, of the province, of the section. So revealed truth also as Bible, as Quran, as Ved, in this way. And they are dealt, revealed truth as dealt partially, thinking the capacity of that particular group in that portion. But revealed truth is reliable somewhat. And they are also extended with some modification, befitting the person to whom it is extended. So some difference we find in the revealed truth. Parakha vada vedoyam vada namunsa. And the Vedic revealed decision is conceived with the most ancient as well as most perfect. After the extended after Bhagavatam, revealed truth. And then we consider to be Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, the thesis. And also there is mention that beyond this creative world, what is there, eternally dancing world. The eternal dance is there. They are contraction and expansion, and they are eternal dance. And that is also lower and the higher type, according to the nature of the ras or ananda or ecstasy, which is the desired thing of every conscious unit. Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari. Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur, Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur, Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur. Rain stopped.
Yeah.
Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur, Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur. Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur, Nidai Gaur Hari Gaur.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Krishna's pastimes in this material world are eternally going on. When
Yes.
Krishna finishes one pastime in this universe, the pastime begins in another universe.
But
So my question is,
uh,
when the universes are withdrawn into Mahavishnu, do the pastimes continue to go on?
then what?
When the universe is,
Dissolved.
Mahapralaya.
This Mahapralaya.
then the pastime.
This side is almost equals to zero, equilibrium, and the other side is in full swing always. Nitya Lila, the eternal aspect. No harm there.
With the Boma Lila.
Just as suppose the fruit fall from the tree and it is finished gradually, but the tree is there, something like that. This may equate to zero, but the other is eternally going on.
But this question of Goloka Gokula
Yes.
arises.
The Gokul Vrindavan, it is there, but the seer are all absent. It is there, it is there. It is there in ideal, that is extended here. What we see from our different position of existence, but it is there always. But we have not eye, so no seer, no touch, none to. But it is same with that. It is in such a plane that it cannot, the external different processes of the material energy, it cannot touch the fine ideal existence in that plane. Suppose if the earth vanishes, that does not mean that whole solar system will vanish, it is there. But the men on the earth, they cannot see that and its influence on the earth. It is in another plane existing, finest plane, that the creation, the evolution, it is beyond evolution and dissolution. Such subtle energy. If the earth destroys, the air or the ether may not be destroyed. The ethereal representation in the earth is not destroyed, but is within and outside the earth. The ether within and outside the earth, but with the dissolution of the earth, ether may not be dissolved. It is there, something like that. Yatha mahanti bhutani bhuti sucha bhati sucha Pravistani apravistani tatha teshu nateshaham. It is there and not there. I am everywhere and I am nowhere. Everything in me, nothing in me. We have to understand that aspect of the cause and the effect, relation of the cause and the effect of different types. The inner representation of the cause and the outer superficial representation of the cause. They may have different position and different property in every respect. The body may be destroyed, mind may not be. Mind may be destroyed, Atma may not be.
Maharaj,
Yes.
when Krishna, in Krishna Lila, Krishna in Vrindavan is the original Krishna. But when Krishna is in Mathura or Dwarka, it's Vasudeva Krishna. So my question is, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in Nabadwip, and when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to Jagannath Puri, is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagannath Puri the original Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
One and the same, a difference in function and our concern. He is conscious of his own position, but the functional question is deeper. Okay.
Nimai.
Nimai. Huh?
Yes.
I have to cover the all that, so she gives us. Krishna.
Is Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri an expansion of Mahaprabhu in Navadvip?
Mahaprabhu in Nabadwip, generally have two phases. Radha Krishna Milita, that is in, that has come once in one day of Brahma, Ashtadinshu Chaturchugi. And the Mahaprabhu, as the giver of the Harinam, Yugavatar, every Kali Yuga he comes, both combined here. And when in Puri, generally you do not find this Namavatar. But that's Radha Govinda Milita, and he is particularly engaged in his original Lila. He is searching himself in the mode of Radha Rani. Not so much engagement of spreading superficial aspect is not, is almost absent. A very far connection, not completely eliminated, but in the greater aspect, the partial representation is represented in such way. The Yugavatar is represented in Karan Bhagavan Lila. Asya Prabhu kahe suno Sarup Ram Rai. Namo Sankirtanam Kalu Param Upaj. Mahaprabhu addressing to Sarup and Ram Rai. Sometimes coming outside on the superficial temperament in connection with the world. Old Sarup, old Damodar, this Ramananda. The Nam Sankirtan is a very wonderful means to attain the divine love of Krishna. In this way he is expressing and testing but mostly deeply engaged in separation of Krishna searching. More attentive or less attentive, no function can be completely separated from another. All have got some unification of uniting relationship entirely. Ishwar tattva bhidmani dehaya aparad. The continuance is always present everywhere and anywhere. Nothing can come in to separate the total. It is continuous. Hare Krishna, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari, Gaur Hari. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Gaur Hari Bol. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai Gaur. Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai.
Maharaj,
Yes.
in every Kali Yuga there's a particular form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes.
What is it?
In every Kali Yuga, there's a particular form
Yes.
of Mahaprabhu come.
Yes. Jugavatar. As Jugavatar, he generally comes every Kali Yuga. Krishna also comes every Kali Yuga. And then Hamsa and I agree. Then Satya Yuga, Satya Yuga, Kriti Jadhayadu Vishnu, Titayang Yaptavarnoshu, Davari, Bhagavan Shamo, and Kali, Kalabhri Tatasino, Krishna Varnam Tisha Krishnam, Sango Pangatsu Bastu, Yaggai Sankirtana Praya Jajanti Yasmi Rasa, Kalu Gujjavatar, cigarette. So it is in a mystic way it has been described in Bhagavatam, not very clearly as in other areas. Because Channa Kalu, Prabhupada Maharaj's song we find. So one of your name is Trijuga. You represent in Trijuga. And in the fourth, it is Channa in disguise. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Jai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Krishna. Om. Jai. Any more questions from the newcomers?
Maharaj, the Gambira at Jagannath Puri, the Gambira at Jagannath Puri,
Gambhira, yes.
is that Gaudiya Math temple?
No, that is different. Not within the administration of any followers of Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta. But they belong to the Gaudiya section.
They're Sahajiyas.
Something like more influence of the Gaudiya section there. But still cannot but be some modification in them, though they are opposing Gaudiya Math, but unconsciously imbibed something from there. Cannot but improve their condition. Though putting blame on Gaudiya Math people, but still they are correcting themselves unconsciously. Because the eyes are being opened, so it is difficult to continue in their foolish way, being modified more or less. This Goswamis, the other, so many who take the name of Nidai Gauranga and go on with their musical things. Not the propagation of Gaudiya Math is standing. They are failing to maintain the difficulty of their own musical opinions and activities. Unconsciously they are modifying themselves, correcting themselves. Very, very low. Many of them are openly announcing we could not understand Bhaktivedanta Thakur in the beginning. We opposed him like anything. But now we understand gradually that what he did though we thought it was against the Sampradaya. But now we can see that what he did, apparently different from our custom, but he did rightly. Many of them say like that in the open meeting. One of them was who was the chairman, and some municipal address was given to Swami Maharaj when he came here first with Chidananda and Ramananda. He was given here the welcome, municipal welcome, and one Mr. Hindu Upendu Sankoteswar, a good scholar of Sanskrit and a so-called follower of Mahaprabhu, and he remarked one day in a meeting where I was present that we fought with Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur in many ways, that he is introducing many novelities into the Sampradaya, crossing the direction of the previous acharyas. We accused him with this vehemently in paper and on paper, press and platform. But now we come to realize that what he did it right. We have not so much foresight to see him at that time. So the other day, the Chaitanya Maharaj, the principal of the college Nabadwip, he also announced that in a meeting. We could not understand him at that time. Now we realize that what he did is quite justified. And we fail to understand this. Many of them are admitting the fact. The apparent service may not be real, and the real service may not always apparently a copy of the former. Imitation of the former. The spirit is all important and not the form. Sanatan took the form of coping, white dress, and the Prabhupada took red dress and dandam, new introduction. But the spirit was there, the form was modified. And the form is what the Baba is, the spirit is absent, different states. So spirit should be welcomed at all cost, on all ages and time. The spirit is all in all, and the form may vary. The outer, according to the environment, the form may vary, but the spirit must be there eternally. And the differentiation between spiritual representation, that is of eternal type, that is there. And we have to adjust with them according to our inner necessity and capacity. Go. Gaud Hari. Process in which our Guru Maharaj gave them to the sannyasi, Swami Maharaj deviated from that. But though other God brothers, they feel something different, I do not do so, because his was more grand, weight in magnitude, And the circumstances was also very different from that of India. So this sort of freedom we must have to adjust with the circumstances, the nature and the education and civilization of the province. This latitude he should enjoy. Enjoy means he must found such insinuation from within for greater accommodation. So living and so many things are different. But we have to see the spirit within, not the outer thing. And the Prabhupada also, formally, he seemed to deviate from Bhaktivedanta Thakur's. Bhaktivedanta Thakur's late stress in the household life. And he was very much afraid of the renowned life of renunciation that may be very grave and serious and may be reactionary. But Prabhupada, he came with such an organization. He gave some chance for what was not generally available. The Vaishnava Seva, Vaishnava Association, Sadhu Sangha. What is the most indispensable necessity in the life of a sadhaka? That is Sadhu Sangha. He made arrangements with the Sadhu Sangha available to many, and he took bold steps to collect persons of different stages and to draw them in and give him chance of divine service under the guidance of the Vaishnava Seva, always hearing, always engagement. And so his deviation from Bhaktivedanta Thakur was amply compensated by another aspect. So that deviation is not deviation in spirit, but in form. For Swami Maharaj also had deviated formally in many cases, but the spirit is intact there. Who have the eye to see that, they will embrace them. Otherwise, others will murmur that he took the name of Prabhupada himself, of his guru, but his guru had reverence for Bhaktivedanta Thakur's name. And he has given this Ananda Vivekananda, either the Ramakrishna mission, they generally use this Ananda in the sannyasi. But our Prabhupada did not do. So deviation from Prabhupada, all this sort of accusing may come on Swami Maharaj, deviation from his own guru. But one who has got eye to see the spirit within, he won't care for this change of personality. He'll stay the inner thing and not the external. And one who has got such a high degree of distributing himself, he must be given by the higher authority some latitude and magnitude of extending himself in some original way. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj,
Yes.
what form did the apparent deviation of our Srila Prabhupada take place? Exactly, what was the difference that how he was different from what
I
Srila
can't
Prabhupada?
count them, but I give you examples, 2, 3, etc.
Yeah, but no, I know that, but I'm specifically in relationship to the sannyas names.
Sannyas name Prabhupada used first Bhakti and then 3-lettered word, one word. And then that 180, then he began to use, beginning from the first. This sannyas, that was not in vogue before Prabhupada. These 108 names or so. sannyasi name. It was Babaji, always Babaji and Das. And he did not use any Ananda. Generally, it was Ashli Sadhus, Vivekananda. They used it, Shankar section also, some way or other. Then Ananda is generally added in the Brahmacharya. The Swarup, Ananda, Chaitanya and Prakash. These are generally recommended for the Brahmacharya. But we find Ramakrishna Mission and Shankar also in the name of Sannyas, Prakashananda, Rodhananda. But Prabhupada used, according to scripture, only Ananda in the Brahmachari. Ananda, Prakash, Swarupa and Chaitanya. In the Brahmachari, not in the name of Sannyasi. Hari Krishna, Gaud Hari, Gaud Hari, Gaud Hari. I was told, I heard that from Sakhi Baba, that when Prabhupada took sannyas, then he went to Vrindavan with two of his followers, one Paramananda, another Kunja Babu, the Bhaktivedanta, who was recently the Acharya of Chaitanya. And their dress, Prabhupada's dress was that of a sannyasi, as a red cloth, but the Babaji they did not like, and they said, Raktavasta Vaishnavi Purite Najvai. It is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. A Vaishnava should not wear a red cloth because that represents near Mayavadi and Tantric. So they will always take a white cloth. That's it. But Prabhupada took red cloth and his dress was like a sannyasi. He went to Vrindavan. And two of his disciples that followed him, Paramananda and Kunja Babu, they were clad in European dress. Sakhi Babu told that created a commotion amongst the Sahajas. What is this? He went to Vrindavan with a red cloth and also took the brahmacharis that with European dress. Generally who uses cloth, the Indian dress, but entering Vrindavan with such revolutionary dress. They began to criticize on all sides. That's what Prabhupada showed. We see that was the emblem, that you people, you don't appreciate what Mahaprabhu has given for us. All your attention is drawn by the glamour of the European culture. So Europeans should be approached, and when it will be possible for us to accept then Mahaprabhu's creed, then you will come and accept. You are followers of the glamour of the European civilization. You are all slave. You have become slave to European civilization. All your attention towards that. So they should be taken in. So I am couching myself in such a way that I shall approach to the present scientific culture, and the seat is with the Europeans. So his attitude was to attack, to prepare himself as a general, to attack the present civilization in the European camp. And these fools, they are only blind followers of that culture.
Maharaj,
That was his attitude. All right.
Hare Krishna.
Hari, Hari. We shall search the spirit and not the form so much. Whether it is a cloth or it is a pantaloon or a coat, that have got some value, not that no value, some value. But the within, the man within is all important. All right then. I shall do all.
Jayam Visnu-pada, Srila Bhakti-Raksak, Srila Dev-Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Jai. Jai.